Greetings! In today's episode about discontinued pigments, I'll be taking a look at a discontinued color from Schmincke that also contains a pigment that was recently pulled from production. Some time ago, I was able to get a tube of Pozzuoli earth from Schmincke. This color is one of the two that they completely retired in 2017, with no replacement. It is a deep muted red, quite opaque, and it is made from two pigments, PR101, a synthetic red iron oxide, and PR206, quinacridone burnt scarlet. This latter pigment was recently completely discontinued, which makes this tube even more intriguing now. I was able to find this bit of info about the color's name from Schmincke's website. In former times made by the famous natural earth from Italy. The name relates to the place where it was formerly found, at the foot of the Vesuvius. Now high-quality imitation because these earths are barely obtainable today. The tube I have was still around because the paint had dried up. The art store I got this from had held onto it because of that, unwilling to sell it, but also unwilling to trash it. Since this is watercolor, I'm not bothered by the fact that it's dried up. My plan is to open up the tube and transfer the paint to a small container. I should be able to re-wet the paint and work with it as normal. I cut off the label, which also helped me see what had actually happened to this paint tube. It was pierced in one spot, and there was a significant hole in the metal of the tube in another spot. There seems to be some dried up binder around the hole. It doesn't look like corrosion. The paint in the tube is still somewhat pliable. I don't think I could get it out of the tube like one normally would, but it's not rock hard. I decided to use the hole already in the tubes to rip it open. I was able to get the paint out. It had a texture similar to taffy. Not overly sticky like taffy, but quite stretchy. Once I had transferred the paint to a small container, I moved on to making a sketchbook page featuring this color. I felt like a swatch should be the very first step so that I can see what this color is like. The color came out smoothly. I wasn't sure what to expect since PR101 can be a granulating color, but in this case it seems they went for a smooth version of this pigment. The color has a small color shift from wet to dry, not as bad as other colors made from red iron oxides that I've seen. The quinacridone pigment adds a really lovely richness and depth to this color. For the rest of the sketchbook page, I drew a quick sketch with the intention of using this paint in a monochrome painting. This will allow me to see how the paint behaves in various dilutions. To keep it monochrome, I inked the sketch with a similarly hued acrylic ink. Once that was dry, I erased my sketch and painted the drawing. I feel like this color is beautiful, but also quite flat. It's made from two pigments, but they mix together perfectly and they don't separate in water. The color of the mix doesn't shift with dilution either. An example of a color that would shift is quinacridone gold hue, as it would be much more orange in its mass tone and get progressively more yellow with dilution. This Pozzuoli earth color is the same hue whether it is full strength or heavily diluted. This is by all means a convenience color. As no two PR101 pigments are exactly the same, having this mix readily available in tube or pan form would be convenient. As a color itself, I don't feel like it's a deal-breaker color. There are similarly hued colors available, and it wouldn't be too hard to find a replacement. It is still very pretty, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it used for painting portraits. I looked through what swatches I have to see if I could find one or multiple matches for this extinct color. Winsor & Newton have similar colors in their Indian Red Deep, and Venetian Red. Not exact matches, but close. Schmincke's Madder Brown is close to the Pozzuoli earth in hue, which is not surprising as it's made from PR206, a pigment that was part of the mix in the Pozzuoli earth color. In the Roman Schmal range, I found that the Indian Red makes a good dupe. It seems to go deeper than Pozzuoli earth in its mass tone, but it's the same in hue. Sennelier have two colors that are close, and unsurprisingly, it's their permanent alizarin crimson deep and their Venetian Red. The first one is PR206 and the second one is PR101, so basically we find the same pigments that were in the original mix. Daniel Smith have a lot of colors that are somewhat similar, but nothing that would make a good dupe. The closest color is their Garnet Genuine, but since it's a Primatech color, I would not expect it to be a reliable alternative. Core have a Venetian Red that makes for a good dupe too, as the color is the same hue as the Pozzuoli earth. Holbein have Indian Red and Imidazolone Brown that come close, but are not a perfect match. I used their Imidazolone Brown acrylic ink to ink my drawing, and I feel like it was the perfect companion color to complement the Pozzuoli earth. Turner Artists Watercolor has a cinnabar color that is a good match for the retired color. The hues are super close. And finally, Kusakabe, a Japanese brand, has a Venetian red that is very close. They are a bit hard to find in North America, however. From the swatches I could reference, two brands have great dupes, Roman Schmal and Core. I'm not sure anyone would be seeking a dupe that extensively, but thought it might be informative to compare the colors I had on hand. Also, this is by no extent all the paints available out there. There could be other alternatives that I didn't have access to. Also, I know that some of the comparison paints I mentioned earlier also use the now discontinued PR206 pigment, Quinacridone Burnt Scarlet. I wanted to include them in case someone already has that color in their stash. I think that rounds it up for this special feature video on the discontinued Pozzuoli Earth from paintmaker Schmincke. In my opinion, this is a beautiful color, but nothing unique. I can understand why they retired it, even if they don't really have a replacement in their range for this particular hue. This pigment mix kept really well, even with a twice perforated tube. Let me know what you think of this color in the comments below. I'll also have a couple of affiliate links in the description if you want to help support this channel through your regular art supplies purchases. And finally, thank you very much for watching this video. See ya in the next one. Bye!